Hello everybody, I'm Elsa and welcome back to Book Bar and welcome to my mid-month wrap-up for the month of October, where I will be discussing the 9 books that I've read from the 1st to the 15th of the month. And yeah, I'm excited to get into these. Like I said, I've read 9 books. If this is your first time watching a wrap-up of mine, I go in order of how I completed them. So I may have started a book at the beginning of the month, but not finished it until the end of the month. So, which that is actually gonna happen soon, so yeah. We're just gonna go ahead and get on into it, starting with the first book that I completed this month, and that was Role Playing by Cathy Yardley. This is a older character romance that actually has an audiobook. If you have KU, it's a read and listen for free, which is great. So this has 2 older MMCs, so MCs, not MMCs. So this follows Aiden and Maggie, and Aiden is 50 and Maggie is like 47, 48. And Maggie is an empty nester now. Her ex was terrible, and now her son has gone away to college, so she's an empty nester. And Aiden is back in his like small town where he grew up, helping take care of his mom, or he helped take care of his dad, and before his dad passed away. And he has a very like fraught relationship with his mom because his mom is very stubborn, and that actually does come into play. But basically, Maggie needs like new friends and needs to get out there, and so she ends up joining this online like guild game for gamers, and she says that she believes that she's joined a bunch of like teenagers, 18 to 20 year olds playing games in their mom's basements basically, and she thinks she's joined them, but until she like makes jokes like, oh, I'm old enough to be your mother, blah, 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 blah. Well, Aiden then thinks that she's actually like an octogenarian because she says she's old enough to be his mother, because she doesn't realize that Aiden is 50. And so Aiden and Maggie end up like meeting in a very fun way, and they strike up a really close friendship, and their friendship leads to more, they really are just friends for a while. They're both kind of like attracted to each other, but they don't do anything on their feelings for a while, until like she kind of stands up for him and is like, tells his family off, and so, you know, things go from there. It was really cute, and I'm so glad I read it, and I gave it 5 stars. Then I read The 5-Year Lie by Sarina Bowen. This is a domestic thriller with like a little bit of romance in it. Very good, my first Sarina Bowen, and probably of like the thrillers that I've read this year, probably one of my like favorite thrillers that I have read. I don't read a ton of thrillers. I mean, I read maybe one every other month. So this one is definitely one that I enjoyed. I did see a lot of it coming. Actually, I didn't see a lot of it coming, but I just like, so this was for my book club where I have a whole discussion where I talked with Monica and Lexi about it. I'll link it above. And like a lot of the reveals that happened, I wish they would have happened at different points. Like, I think it would have hit a lot harder, but I really enjoyed this. It was fun. It was a quick read. I think I read it, like, it took me a little bit to get into it because it is very much like building the relationship, and then like it gets fast paced and crazy. But yeah, I had fun with this. I ended up giving it 4.5. I rented it down to 4, but I did really enjoy this, and yeah, definitely will read more Sarina Bowen, and will definitely read more thrillers that she writes. Then I did my vlog for Spookopoly, and I started with The Single Dads Club by Therese Beharie. This was also for my Uno. I was in my Uno prompts to read a book with characters that are not in the United States, Canada, or the UK. These characters and the author are both from South Africa. And so this follows, I didn't write their names down, Rowan and Delilah. And Rowan is he's not necessarily a single father. He's not with his son's mother. Like, they tried to make it work. The baby was a product of a one-night stand, and they tried to make it work, and they just didn't have that chemistry. But he moves to his baby's mom is going to be traveling for work for 2 weeks. Like, she's very high up in her company, and as much as she loves her son and wants to be there for her son, she also loves her job. And I think that that's very refreshing to have someone who like loves their job enough to still want to do their job, because they know that that's what makes them the best mom. So she has to travel for a few weeks for work, and so because she doesn't want Rowan to be alone, and And so Rowan can continue working, and they don't have to they both don't have to sacrifice doing what they also love and showing their child that they can have it all. They decide to move to the small town his grandma lives in, and there he meets Delilah, and him and Delilah strike up a friendship that becomes more. I talked about this in the vlog. I hated the will they, won't they, wishy-washiness of Rowan. I mean, it made sense, but at the same time, it was very frustrating. And yeah, I ended up giving it 3.5 stars. But yeah, it was fun. Neighbors. It was, again, this was on K Read and Listen, which is always great. So yeah, definitely one that I enjoyed, but not like a brand new fave, if you know what I'm saying. Then we have Stealing a Ronan by Isabel Lucero, also for the Spookopolis Found vlog. This was a fun male-male romance where they're snowed in together. It's sister's boyfriend. But this follows Ronan and Renzo. And Renzo's sister, Violet, I think is her name, Victoria or Violet, she brings home Ronan. And Renzo is immediately intrigued, and so she says she's dating Ronan. They're not really, like, she kind of knows they're not, but Ronan might also be attracted to Renzo. Ronan might be attracted to Renzo and admits this when they end up snowed in together on vacation. And yeah, it was fun. I give it 3 stars. It was nothing like crazy or anything, but I had a good time. It was a super fast read. So glad I finally read that one. Then I read Off the Hook by Julie Olivia. This is a Peter Pan retelling that follows Wendy and Jasper, who is kind of the Captain Hook character, but he actually is Peter's older brother. And Peter and Wendy had a relationship in the past, and they were engaged, and Wendy called off their engagement. And then Jasper needs help with for the summer with his ward. He is the father figure to his godson because his parents had passed away, and so Jasper has taken Sam on, and Sam's a 6-year-old little boy and does not need to be working spending his summer at a shipyard and a dock. And so Wendy agrees to help, and you know, Wendy and Jasper just can't seem to avoid each other. But yeah, I enjoyed this. I gave it 4 stars. It was a little too long. There were some parts that could have been cut because it just kind of dragged at some points, but I did overall enjoy it. And for the Spookopolis vlog, it was the most successful book that I finished in that vlog. So yeah. Then I read The Witch and the Cowboy by Ryen and Rowe, and I hated this book. I gave it 2.5 stars. I think their characters' names were Walker and Freya, and it was just boring, and I skim read it, and I really did not enjoy it. I thought I was gonna love it, but definitely not one that I enjoyed. So moving on. Then I read Asking for Trouble by Giana Darling. This is the 8th book in the Fallen Men series. This follows Blue and Aaron, also known as Boner. And Blue and Aaron ends up saving Blue because Blue is working at a gas station, the late night, overnight shift at the gas station, and she gets held up. And Aaron helps her and saves her, and turns out that she has ties to a rival MC club that you've kind of learned about in past, especially in the book before this. So although you could technically read all of these as standalones, reading The Fallen Men in order is the best way to go. So yeah, it was fun. It was very, like, because this was supposed to be like a true novella, I think Giana had originally planned on it being like 100 pages, but ended up being like 300. It was quite insta-lovey, but it was still really fun. And this one got quite dark. So yeah, I enjoyed it. 4 stars, but not my favorite. Like, if I were to rank them in terms of like couples, they would be like low. And it's like it's in the lower third of books for me, because there's 8 books, and so I would say my favorite couple, HR and Danner, Good Gone Bad, book number 1, Axeman or my favorite book, not book number 1, Axeman and May, second favorite, like very close, second favorite. Then Nova and Leela. Then Zeus. No, then Bee and Priest. Then Zeus and Lulu. Then I'd probably put Aaron and Blue, and then last would be King and Chris. So yeah, 4 stars for that. I still enjoyed it, but not like a favorite. Then I read The Phoenix King by Aparna Verma. This was an epic fantasy that I was very intrigued by at parts, but then I also was very bored by at other parts. Like, I'm pretty sure I missed like a couple minutes at the end, towards the end, and I didn't care to go back and reread. Because I just was kind of like over it. But I really did enjoy the world and everything. I just kind of got over like towards the end there's like a traveling aspect, and I didn't love that, and I was kind of bored by that. So yeah, but it was fun. This is definitely just more of a fantasy. There is like a tiny hint of romance, but not much. I was shocked at the end by who the prophet ended up being. So I would probably continue. I had a good time with it, but it's not like a new favorite or anything. So 3.5 stars for this. Then the last book that I finished this half of the month was my favorite book so far, and that was so far this month. That was The Wallflower Reader by Tessa. This is the 3rd book in the Girl Meets Duke series. Stunning. Step back. This is Penny and Gabe, and Penny is the friend that loves animals. She is obsessed with animals, takes them in, helps them, revives them, gives them a home, and doesn't matter what kind of animal, 2-legged, 3-legged, 4-legged, it doesn't matter. She wants to help them. And yeah, and she ends up Gabe ends up living next door to her. And Gabe is the Duke of Ryen. His last name is Duke, but he is not actually a Duke. He is more of like a self-made man, has learned how to basically use people's weaknesses against them and get money from that. And so he ends up buying a home, and it's next door to Penelope, and he's going to basically like flip it, like a modern day like flip. And he knows that to drive up the value of the home, living next door to a lady, that's really going to help. So he needs Penelope to stay living there, but Penelope has been told by her family that she needs to make some changes and get out in the world again, or she's got to go back and live with her brother in her hometown. And you learn why she really does not want to do that, and yeah, makes sense. But yeah, I loved this. I gave it 5 stars. So good. Definitely a new favorite. I love that series, and I'm just like, I want the 4th book so badly. I want like my favorite historical authors to write more historicals again, but I know it's not like a genre that people love, so it's of like a genre that's going away, and it's really sad. But yeah, that is all I have for now. If you made it to the end of this video, leave me some sort of animal emoji for the wonderful Penny, and especially if you have a bird, because the bird, this was my favorite. Hey, pretty lady. And don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all the fun stuff. It really helps me out, and I'll talk to you all in the next one. Bye.